Coming up this week, off-screen.
Star Wars gets militarized in Rogue One.
We crash and burn with Tommy Byrne.
Explore the wilderness with the Eagle Huntress.
Go through the wall with Rama Bernstein.
Spend time with a rather unorthodox family in The Son of Joseph.
And visit Bohemian New York with Uncle Howard.
All this to come and more off-screen.
This is off-screen. Off-screen. With the latest film news and reviews, this is Off-Screen, the on-screen radio show.
Ooh, welcome to On Screen. I'm Van Connor.
I am Case Allen.
So, loads of films, loads of news, box office top 10, usual fun to be had, Mr. Allen. And of course,
absolutely.
there's a slightly larger than usual release this week, which I'm looking forward to talking about. I don't know about you.
Is it the Eagle Huntress?
It is the Eagle Huntress entirely,
Cannot
yes.
wait to talk about
With Daisy Ridley off all
Star
those,
Trek fame.
Yeah, all those other little indie films she does,
Yeah, of course.
So, it starts off with some film news then.
Have some news?
We'll break
Okay.
from there.
Well, we are going to be getting, after Christmas, into the heat of the Oscar season, the other big awards, the Independent Spirit Awards.
I was going to say, that's always my go-to as well, the Independent Spirit Award.
know.
That's my one, yeah.
So I like to think of myself as an independent spirit.
You truly are,
Totally. But the nominations for the Golden Globes.
Oh, they're out now, aren't they?
They are out.
Okay.
The actual awards itself is going to be, I believe, the second week of January. It's something
they come like
that,
a month before the Oscars. Something like a month, 6 weeks before the Oscars, thereabouts?
Something like that. But usually, weirdly, like around the same time that the Oscars nominations themselves are
Yeah,
released.
they're usually in January, aren't they, the nominations?
Yeah, so we've got a few here. I'm going to rattle through some of the biggies. So, Best Motion Picture for a Drama, we have Hell or High Water,
Oh, fair,
which
yeah.
we really enjoyed.
We liked.
Absolutely. Lion, which we've not had.
I've not had the
yet.
pleasure. I'm looking
Not
forward
yet.
to it, though. Led Dev Patel, big
I
fan.
do like me some Dev. Dev's
Yeah,
a good lad.
Bit of Dev.
Manchester by the Sea.
Which is apparently awesome.
Cannot wait to see that. Casey Affleck. Moonlight.
Which is, again, meant to be awesome.
These are all films that for next year we cannot wait to see.
Oh, no, definitely
And
not.
rounding it off, Hacksaw Ridge.
Ooh.
This is a controversial one, obviously, because
Mr. Gibson's
Mr.
getting
Gibson
his
himself.
time back in the sun.
that's it, absolutely. But this is kind of indicative of what Golden Globes do. They like to just try and bring people back.
That's fair.
Sometimes,
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Mel Gibson back with, as the great director again.
Absolutely. And conversely, Best Motion Picture for a comedy or a musical, 20th Century Women. Have you heard about this?
No, I've not heard of this one. What is
Okay.
this?
Did you see a film called, what was it? Had Ewan McGregor, Christopher Plummer, Beginners.
Beginners,
few
yeah, I
years
remember,
ago.
yeah.
There's a guy called Mike Mills, not to be confused with the bass player Mike Mills from R.E.M. He's made the film. It's got Billy Crudup, Annette Bening. Yeah, it's supposed to be really cool, like interesting comedy drama. Deadpool.
Ooh.
Is I know. Who'd have thought it?
I know, Mr.
Comic book
Poole.
movie, Mr. Poole
Yeah.
himself. Florence Foster Jenkins, Meryl Streep. Meryl Streep being nominated for an award. Who'd have thought it?
No, it's a complete shock. It's
absolutely.
never happened before.
Sing Street.
Happy about that. Very
Yeah,
happy.
I saw that
liked-
recently. Really liked that.
Did you liked it? Didn't you?
I did like it a lot, absolutely. And La La Land, which that's kind of
win
the
all
big
the
one. That's going to
awards.
win all of the awards. So that is my news for now. Maybe we'll get back to some more of those nominations later.
Well, we're going to have
Maybe
a
extras.
lot of nominations to get through in the next 2 months. So
Yeah,
we'll get.
that's
to.
just a little taste.
In the meanwhile, let's see what's set the box office alight. Well, let's see what the first half of what's set the box office alight over the last weekend.
Number 10.
Befi Kaya, which I've never seen.
Well, I've not. It's one of the Yashraj films, so it's basically a Bollywood production, which means it's not really press shown.
No.
They do have press showings occasionally because they had one for Fan, if you remember that.
Yeah, the ones that we've seen, we've really enjoyed.
Like Fan,
Yeah,
I
let's see
thought was
more.
great, but they
Yeah.
didn't press show this one, which is a shame.
Number 9.
Bad Santa 2.
Which, it's a decent sequel in that it's a decent film, but it's not any more than that. It's not more than a decent comedy. You'll laugh. You'll not laugh anywhere near as hard as you did with the first one. It's not anywhere near as good as the first one. And it's not anywhere near as sharp or as concise or as bleak or as wonderfully nihilistic as the first one. And in the end, it just feels like a sort of cash-in comedy sequel. It feels like Horrible Bosses 2. And you don't want that. You want 22 Jump Street. And that's kind of a shame. Although, Kathy Bates does steal it.
Number 8.
Snowden.
Which, have you had the pleasure of Snowden yet, by the way?
Not yet, no. I was too busy seeing Rogue something. Yeah.
Rouge one. The Rouge one.
Rouge one,
yeah. Well, this is the thing. I really like Snowden. I do think there's some liberties taken with it in terms of kind of Hollywoodizing it. Like, he's got a friend in the film that you're just like, there's no way that person existed. There is no way whatsoever. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, though, absolutely inhabits the role of Edward Snowden.
Yeah, Shailene Woodley.
Shailene Woodley makes her a great sort of, domestic foil.
What about the lead?
You mean Mr. Cage?
Mr. Cage, yeah.
Mr. Cage, well, he steals all 3 of his scenes.
That's good.
It's worth saying that, they're only 2-person scenes, so competition is somewhat slim.
That's good. If we can hedge the playing field for Cage. Yeah.
That's it. I think they're keeping the field open for Mr. Cage. I did like it very much. But I do think it feels like Oliver Stone, despite the fact that this is the best thing he's made in a good decade easily, 15 years I'd say, it does feel like he's wearing his personal beliefs too proudly on his sleeve. The film takes no moral step back whatsoever as regards what's going on. He is the hero. He is the great. And you start thinking, but there's a lot of people in the world who don't believe he's a hero. And it would be nice if the film kind of examined that a little bit, and it doesn't. And you, frankly, from Oliver Stone, you expect, please take the time to, look at this, because that's what you're good for. That's what you do better than anyone. And yet, Oliver Stone not bringing that level of insight to it is a little disappointing, I've got to admit.
Number 7.
Trolls.
Which is still hanging in there. How many weeks is Trolls now? It's like 8 weeks?
8 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah. And I've not been able to get that song in my head for about 12 weeks.
Can't stop the feeling.
Yeah. No, you cannot, Justin. You cannot stop the feeling.
You cannot stop that feeling.
But you dare try to stop the feeling.
Which I really liked it. I did. It was. I didn't expect to. I really went in expecting the worst. I went in expecting Smurfs, and I really intensely disliked the Smurfs. What I got wore me down quite quickly and sort of forced me to succumb to this saccharine, sugar-coated candy corn world of fluffy-haired trolls, complete with a goody two-shoes Anna Kendrick and a rebellious Justin Timberlake. And I liked it. I suckered for it. It wore me down. I was drawn in by it, and the kids obviously in the screening liked it as well. So I'll call it a win. There'll be an inevitable sequel in 2 years' time, and we can all go home happy.
Number 6.
Arrival. I've been looking forward to this. I've seen it.
You've finally seen it, haven't you?
I finally arrived.
Right, 60 seconds, take it away.
Okay, it's the best performance that I've ever seen Amy Adams give.
I thought you were going to say Jeremy Renner then.
It's the best performance I've seen Jeremy Renner give.
There you go.
Forrest Whitaker turns up doing the Forrest Whitaker thing.
Did you not think he was doing? Did you not think he was doing Tommy Lee Jones?
A little bit, yeah. You could easily have had Tommy Lee Jones.
You could, couldn't you?
Yeah, but the score was incredible. The cinematography was just stunning.
It was, wasn't it?
Beautiful, and the direction was it was tight and everything that you've expected from him.
Did you see
Denis?
Yeah. Did you see the contact sphere sort of comparison point?
Absolutely, yeah. It is like a superior contact.
No, absolutely, yeah. Superior contact, absolutely. I'll go with that. But you'd recommend it?
I would recommend it to everyone. I'd recommend it to strangers. I'd recommend it to people who don't like a sci-fi film.
I'd recommend it to just humans with functioning eyes, working ears. Totally. Yeah, I really enjoyed it too. So let's plug the podcast real quick. We'll get a quick review out of the way. So podcast edition, we do the extended version where we do the stuff after the credits, where we fit in all the bits we can't put in the radio
just have a
edit.
good old natter, don't we?
We have a bit of a natter. We get to do the reviews that don't fit in the short and the sort of time for time radio edit. We get to have the moment of Cage at the very end, and it's a lot more fun. We get to cut loose in the podcast.
Let's let our respective hair down.
We do, yes. Yeah. So if you want to hear that, then it's usually about a good half hour longer, I'd say. It comes after the end credits. Pop onto Deezer, Acast, iTunes, TuneIn, any podcast platform. Just type in Offscreen, or just go along to onscreenfilm.com and go in the Offscreen section. And while you're there, there's some competitions. At the minute, you can win 9 lives on DVD, because Kevin Spacey's a cat in a movie with Christopher Walken.
Sold. I'm entering it right now
exactly.
myself.
Go and win that DVD, because everyone needs more Kevin Spacey as
Frank Underwood as a cat. That's what's going to happen in season 5 House of Cards.
I want to really quickly then talk about Uncle Howard.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure about it.
Right, this is a film. This is a film by Aaron Bruckner, and it is about his late uncle Howard Bruckner, who died of AIDS in the late 80s, having recently wrapped production on what was going to be the definitive look at the work of William S. Burroughs. Now, the film was released. It's sort of forgotten in time, as it were. Burroughs does exist. It had Jim Jarmusch as its sound guy, would you believe?
Really?
And this is going to come into play in a minute.
He's coming up quite a lot recently.
Well, what his nephew has now done is gone around and tried to find the lost archival material, the definitive collection of Burroughs material, which is scattered around the world. We have a clip.
Burroughs was a very suspicious, let's say, paranoid person. He was suspicious even of his own fame, while at the same time sculpting it a bit himself, But he saw something in Howard that he found amusing, because Howard had this kind of mischievous, some unflinching in the face of perversity quality. And I know Burroughs liked that. Howard was a attractive young guy. I think Burroughs probably appreciated that, But more, I think he just liked that Howard was very interested, knowledgeable, and fun to be around.
Right, we only have a minute, so I'm going to have to be really brief on
I
it.
recognise that voice. Who was that?
That was Jim Jarmusch. We spared no expense. It is Jim Jarmusch. He does arrive, and there's a lot of interesting footage, actually, of the production of the documentary. You see young Jim Jarmusch. The problem with the film, first and foremost, and it's a very sincere, very loving ode to Uncle Howard. The problem is the film isn't laid out that way. Despite the title, the film positions itself very early on as, let's look at this story of the lost archive materials of William S. Burroughs. And we get that for about 15 minutes. And then what we get is basically a eulogy to a man we don't know. And by the end of the film think, yeah, this was all great. This was lovely. I'm really happy that you got to do that. I'm happy for you that you got to do that. I personally am not interested, though, because I don't know who this person was. So thanks for that. It's like, when someone tells you about a dream they've had, and you're like, I don't care. It's not my dream.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
You know what I mean? I'm not going to tell you about my dreams, so don't tell me about your uncle. It's kind of like that.
Especially when I talk to if it's a dream about your uncle.
Well, that's just weird. Yeah. But no, this is the problem. The people who are going to be drawn to this documentary are going to be drawn to it because of the William S. Burroughs factor. And they can leave the theatre 15 minutes in and not really skip a beat. But in the off chance you are interested in the random eulogizing of Howard Bruckner, a man who made 3 films and you really don't know who he is really, unless you're firmly embedded in the bohemian art world, then you're kind of just going to think, great, I'm interested if I'm into that. Otherwise, there's nothing here for me, and that's the problem. I came away going, there's nothing there for me. This is done.
With the latest film news and reviews. This is Offscreen, the on-screen radio show.
And we're back. What's that look on your face that you've got something to say?
I got something to say about Ben Mendelsohn.
What do you got to say about Ben Mendelsohn?
I like him. I'm a fan. I've enjoyed him in many, many, many different films.
The look on your face is like something to say about Ben Mendelsohn. I want to fight Ben Mendelsohn.
Yeah, no, I want to heap praise on him. I want to talk about his future projects.
Well, before we talk about his current project, then, should we talk about his future project?
Let's talk about his future one, because I was not interested in this up until hearing that he might be a part of it.
Okay,
so the film is Robin Hood, Origins, which I already have an issue with.
Oh, I thought you were going to tell me it was the Power Rangers movie, but okay.
Oh, can you imagine if he's going to be in a sequel?
He's Zordon. But no.
That would be incredible.
No, it's Bryan Cranston. Zordon.
It is indeed Bryan Cranston. But anyway, Robin Hood Origins. It's going to be coming out, I believe, the tail end of next year. We're going to be shooting it soon.
Is it the end of next year?
It's the end of next year or early 2018. But we're going to be shooting it beginning of next year.
I love that both King Arthur and Robin Hood are back next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we need reboots of those guys again.
And they're gritty reboots that star
just
young
Dark
British
Knight
men.
Dark Knight Hill.
Yeah.
Taron Egerton is going to play the part of Robin Hood. Jamie Foxx, guess who he's going to be playing?
John Little.
Yeah, because that's what you think when you see Jamie Foxx. Absolutely. And Ben Mendelsohn, who is in talks to be the Sheriff of Nottingham.
Which is great casting.
That has elevated the film. And you know what? I'd even watch Jamie Foxx being Little John.
Well, funnily enough, the last time we had a Robin Hood movie was the Ridley Scott one, and the Sheriff of Nottingham was Matthew McFadden from Spooks.
Yeah.
And
that had some actually really good villain. I really did not like the film.
I didn't like the film, but that had potential.
Yeah. Oscar Isaacs was a bad guy. Mark Strong was, spoiler, a bad guy.
I remember, yeah. Damn, that film should have been so much better than it was.
That could be pretty interesting. But Ben Mendelsohn was the main villain in Star Wars Rogue One.
He was.
Well, Rogue One, a Star Wars story.
Rogue One,
whatever you want to.
Which is a lovely segue, so that we can get to.
I've been known to do pretty good segues.
Your segues have brought pleasure to a lot of people. I will admit. we have Twitter. We do hear these things. So, Rogue One, a Star Wars story, which you and I have now had the pleasure of seeing. It opens tomorrow. Is it tonight at midnight? We're recording this on Wednesday.
We were the lucky souls told us we saw it yesterday.
Yeah, we're recording this Wednesday. It opens tonight at midnight. Officially, it's tomorrow. We got the Tuesday night. So, yeah, okay. By the time you hear this, it will be the biggest thing in the world, which is perfectly understandable, really. So this is set roughly 5 minutes before the events of A New Hope, or Star Wars Episode 4, or Star Wars, depending, 1977 one with Luke Skywalker and Alec Guinness. And what you've got here is the story of, in a nutshell, this is the story of how they stole the Death Star plans. This is the story that they literally tell you the ending of this story in the first 10 seconds of A New Hope. The title crawl of A New Hope tells you how this ends.
So we finally see the crawl come to life.
Yes, we kind of... I feel like in the background of the film, there should just be a bit where you actually see the crawl floating in space.
That would have been an incredible Easter egg.
They're in a ship, they're flying away, and there's just a crawl in the background.
You see the Death Star and just some white text just next to it.
Yeah. So, Felicity Jones is your lead here.
Sorry, white text, yellow text.
Yellow text.
My apologies.
I was going to say, I wasn't going to be a nitpicker, that was what it was. Felicity Jones is the lead. She is Jyn Erso. She is the nomadic, streetwise, basically a sort of vagabond outlaw type, kind of out for herself. She's been left to fend for herself for that part of a decade, 15 years. She's been raised until her teenage years by Forrest Whitaker's character, who is a sort of Rebel Alliance / terrorist type. He is the guy too extreme for the Rebel Alliance, and she is broken out of...
extreme.
Basically, yeah. And this is... We're going to get to that in a minute. She is broken out of prison by the Rebel Alliance when they need her help in tracking down Forrest Whitaker as part of a scheme to get to a defecting Imperial pilot who has plans for a rumoured superweapon which could change the balance of power in the galaxy. And if you've seen a poster, you know exactly what this clip is. So, needless to say, she teams up with the Rebel Alliance, and the search is on for both Forrest Whitaker and this pilot, and someone else you may have seen in some marketing. Here's a clip.
Why does she get a blaster and I don't?
What?
I know how to use it.
That's what I'm afraid of. Give it to me.
We're going to Jeddah. That's a war zone.
That's not the point of... Where'd you get it?
I found it.
I find that answer vague and unconvincing.
Trust goes both ways.
You're letting her keep it. Would you like to know the probability of her using it against you? It's high.
Let's get going.
It's very high.
So there is Alan Tudyk as the reprogrammed droid K2SO, and Diego Luna as Captain... What's his name?
Cassian Andor.
Cassian Andor.
Which may be my favourite name.
Cassian Andor.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to tell people that Case is short for.
I think you should. That really is not far off your name. Needless to say, Alan Tudyk steals the film as K2SO.
Yeah, he is your new favourite droid.
He is. What was it you said earlier? He's a droid that throws some shade.
He throws shade. He's a shade-throwing droid.
He is. I think he's like a passive-aggressive C-3PO.
He is.
He really is.
Because I think the reason why everyone hates 3PO, he whines. He's too whiny.
He is a very whiny character. Yeah. I'm just going to pull up the IMDb page.
Not K2.
No,
K2
not at all.
He's not that character at all.
He is the alpha male to C-3PO. That's the way you'd call it.
Yeah,
on this
but
one.
he is. He's great, isn't he?
He is great.
Yeah.
Ben Mendelsohn, I think he makes for quite an intriguing villain. I think he's overshadowed a little bit by a number of cameos and other elements, and basically the sheer weight of the ensemble good guy cast, who I do think overshadow him slightly because they're so enjoyable. And
they all have very good chemistry, and they all seem quite well rounded as well.
This is it. I mean, there are 1 or 2 weak links in the chain, and in one of those cases, it's not their fault. But I want to single out Donnie Yen.
Absolutely, yeah,
Donnie Yen
he's definitely a standout.
Owns this.
Yeah. Chiri Imri.
Yes, that's his name. And Wen Yang, who's his sort of sidekick.
Yeah, Baze something.
Baze Malbus.
Baze Malbus. Yeah.
This is one of those films that's got a lot of alien names that you're just not going to know how to pronounce. It's like Game of Thrones that way.
Standard Star Wars. Yeah, exactly. Game of Thrones now, yeah.
Loads of names that you can't pronounce, and they always come with a sort of adjective.
I love trying to pronounce Game of Thrones names. There's one guy that's like Zanok, Zeros, Deros or something.
Whoever knows anymore. Yeah. So, going down to the writing, the clever part of actually writing this film, which is basically it's a story that you know the ending of. You know how this has to go, this story, because you've seen A New Hope. You know, this is what leads to that plot. So, bearing in mind that you know that, what they've done, it's Chris Weitz and Gary Whitta, I think they've put this screenplay together. What they've done is basically made it about the journey, not the destination. And it's all about the characters, and it's all about how they get there and what they learn along the way. And I actually really liked that about it. It goes into an area of the Star Wars universe that we've never really seen before. Because obviously we know how this universe, the nuts and bolts of what each thing is, but we don't know how this universe works exactly. So the Rebel Alliance, for instance, we actually get an insight into the day-to-day working of the Rebel Alliance, which we've never had before.
And it's nice to see it as being a little bit of a grey area as well. Like,
it is.
Sort of morally speaking.
Which is something we've never had, because it's always just seemed like a little army, a good guy army, hasn't it?
A good guy army, that's it, but you never see it from the things that they have to do.
It's nice to see a film that gets to go into the grey area, and weirdly, as
the things that they don't want to do, but they have to do it for the greater good.
Exactly, and there is a weird side effect where they wind up creating better anti-heroes than Suicide Squad.
Absolutely.
Which is, I'm starting thinking, I never thought a Star Wars movie would out Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad, yeah.
But fair enough.
You are more empathetic, and you see them being as bigger badasses.
Exactly. There is no moment in this. There's no Felicity Jones breaking your window saying, "We're bad guys, it's what we do." None of that nonsense. There's just there's heroics from bad guys. That's it. That's what you need, and I like that about it. There are a couple. There's one very big computer effect which didn't work on me, and I know what the intention is to it, and obviously we can't go into it for because you can spoil this. Yeah. You can really easily spoil Rogue One.
It has been a thorn in a lot of people's sides, but also again without spoiling it, I don't know how you could have done it.
I don't. To be fair. But it's an effect that is going to bother you.
Yeah.
And the biggest, you'll know it when you see it, and the biggest thing I could say is just accept it and move on.
Yeah, just be fine with it, and you will enjoy.
Just look past it.
There are way more pros than there are cons.
There are. Yeah. Let's stick with the cons, though. Diego Luna, who I did not like.
Did you not get onto it?
No. He's arguably like a male lead. He's arguably the male lead of this, I think.
Yeah, effectively enough. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think he's really got the requisite charisma for this at all. He's he's delivering one of those performances where the sort of the emotional range of the character is verbalized rather than in any way expressed.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is he
gets a lot of the more weighty exposition, I feel.
It is that, but it's character exposition in a strange way as well. Yeah. And
it's like, I've done things, man. I've seen some stuff.
Yeah, but I don't get that vibe from you. Yeah. It just seems like you forgot to shave this morning and that's why you look like that. It doesn't seem like you've seen the horrors of war.
Because yesterday said to me you felt like it would have been a little bit, would have played better if it was swapped with Riz Ahmed.
Yes, if Riz Ahmed and Diego Luna had swapped roles.
Which I would have been fine with, but I think that Riz Ahmed was great in his role.
I think he would have been even better.
Yeah.
I think he's great. I think he would have been even better.
I think, I know there are faults there. I'm struggling to find those faults because I'm still just. I think it's last year with Force Awakens. I see a new Star Wars film, and when you see one of a certain quality, you ride a bit of a high, don't you?
Let's talk about that quality then, because Gareth Edwards, who's still a relatively untested property, he's an unknown commodity.
Pretty much, yeah. He's did Monsters, obviously did the remake of Godzilla to varying effects. I think.
This is the third?
Exactly. This is just his third, yeah. He's done short films and stuff as well.
But I mean, wow.
It's a step up. It is definitely.
There's everything in here from The Dirty Dozen to Halo. And
you get that boots on the ground feel.
This is a war movie, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is the first proper Star Wars war movie. And we've had movies with the actual word war in the title.
Yeah, I will say that these are the most spectacular dogfights you will see.
God, yeah. It's also, this is the thing, because it is... if you look at it academically as a film, it is a better film than Force Awakens. It is a braver film than The Force Awakens.
It takes more risks.
And strangely, it's a bigger film than The Force Awakens.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
And I never would have thought, of all things, Rogue One would be a bigger film than Force Awakens.
Something that could be viewed as just being a prequel.
Yes.
Essentially.
Well, it's not even a prequel, it's a prequel offshoot spin-off thingy.
It wears many hats.
It does wear many hats, and it wears them well.
Yeah. But I feel he has done a really good job, and it's been quite well publicised, all of the reshoots and all of the behind-the-scenes to-do that went off, and Tony Gilroy was brought on board to sort of either redo the screenplay and sort of oversee the reshoots as well, but they did what they needed to do to get the film. The film has turned out well,
and you know what? It's not Tony Gilroy walking down the red carpet at the premiere. It's Gareth Edwards. So let's just say it all ended well.
Yeah, everyone did a fantastic job.
And you know what? For a film that's had behind the scenes drama, if that is the case, I think we can genuinely say this is one of the few success stories of that. Yeah. This is no Fantastic Four. Let's put it that way. Although I did ask you before the film started, what do you think Josh Trank's up to tonight?
Yeah, and I said crying in a corner.
Crying in a corner. And to be fair, I was cowering in the corner by the end of this, going, "Oh my god, that was just intense. That was amazing."
Yeah, that final third. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm going back to the cinema to see this in 4DX.
Are you going back tomorrow?
I'm going tomorrow night to see this in 4DX.
Nice. I would like to see it in 3D because
we got 2D.
So we just got the 2D. We did see it in IMAX, which I would definitely implore.
Oh yeah,
to see.
There's some massive scope and scale to the visuals in this.
Huge.
But I'm going to 4DX, and I'm dreading the third act of this because I don't think I'll be able to walk after.
No, you're going to have legs of jelly, sir.
I mean, I remember in Force Awakens when is it John Boyega ran a guy through with a lightsaber, and the 4DX seats just jab you in the back at that moment. I don't know what the third act of Rogue One is going to be like. It's going to be like someone just pimp slapping you constantly.
You're not going to have a chair left. Your chair's just going to explode. It's going to be in tiny bits. There's going to be red left.
By the end of it, you're just on a stool. By the end of it, there's just a crumbled seat around you. But so I think we said last year when Force Awakens came out that Star Wars was back, and guess what? It's still back.
It continues to be back.
And now it's got teeth. So yes, rock on, Gareth Edwards, please, more like this.
With the latest film news and reviews. This is Offscreen.
My wingman anytime.
And we're back. And so to you, my wingman, what do we have next?
I like being referred to as a wingman. That's good.
It fits. But speaking of wings...
Speaking of wings, let's talk about Gotham City Sirens.
Okay, well, there's technically a canary, I think, in Gotham City Sirens at some point. It's because I thought the next review was Eagle Huntress, so forgive my faux pas there. But
it's quite right. We're going to get to that, but we'll talk... Should we talk about Gotham City Sirens?
Let's do Gotham City Sirens first. Okay,
so this is a brand new addition to the DC EU, or DC Cinematic Universe, as they want to be called.
I think is it DC Extended
Universe, but they don't want to. So that's what they're going to be called. So after the sort of middling success of Suicide Squad, they're pressing ahead with some of the outright successes of Suicide Squad, namely Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn.
Oh.
So we're going to be getting a Gotham City Sirens film. It's going to be directed by David Ayer, who did Suicide Squad.
But this is the weird thing, because this is apparently one of Calvin's favourite comic books.
Yeah, I've heard great things about the actual run.
He was very upset about the news that they were going to make this movie.
So, for those not aware, it basically concerns Harley Quinn, Catwoman, and Poison Ivy. They've kind of main three, and there's also
conveniently the three that always get chosen for cosplay functions. Yeah. Imagine that. It's funny how that happens.
Let's try not to be cynical. Let's try and be positive. Let's
try not to be cynical.
Struggling.
Let's not point out that they so clearly want to just exploit the Batman brand for merchandising purposes, and they're tired of waiting on Ben Affleck, so they'll just toss out any old garbage.
And I have got some news related to that later on, but I will get
fair
to
play.
But it's not got a date, but they've just announced that David Ayer is going to be the one making it. I believe it's got a screenwriter as well, but I'm not entirely sure who the screenwriter
is. It did. I forget this now. Who was it? Yeah. Someone's actually got something actively in development at the moment, and I forget offhand.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure, but I think we can agree that Margot Robbie was one of the highlights.
Yeah, her performance worked.
She was fantastic.
Yeah, it was
and I still want to trust David Ayer as well.
Well, they are.
He's had more hits than misses for me.
That's true. They are still pushing ahead though. There is not in active development, but there are plans still afoot for a Suicide Squad 2.
There is, yeah.
And a Deadshot
standalone as well.
Because once you've got
this extended universe, it really is bloody extended, isn't it?
It really
It keeps
is.
on extended.
One could argue it's overextended, but...
But yeah, I will welcome it, and then we'll see when I see it.
Well, that's it. I mean, let's be honest. It's going to be frenzied action. Let's just say it's going to be some fun action scenes, I imagine.
It will. It'll be a fun night out. Just get off your face on popcorn.
I would very much like it if David Ayer remembered to hire someone for lighting this time around. That would be nice.
Just because it's dark doesn't mean it needs to be murky. You don't need to just rub mud on your
still
camera.
Need lighting. These films still need to be lit.
We need to be lit. Absolutely. Yeah, okay, so tell me about the Eagle Huntress.
Okay, Eagle Huntress, which is a documentary produced by, directed by Otto Bell. This is a bit of a weird one. This is the story of a 13-year-old Kazakhstani girl who grows up in the wilderness. The documentary crew follow her and her family as she reaches the age where she decides she wants to become an Eagle Huntress, hence the rather clever title. Because that's it. They train, you train an eagle, and then the eagle hunts foxes for you, and then you use the foxes for everything. Okay. And this is the story of this young girl, and this is the thing, in her community, in her cultural element, girls generally don't do this. It's kind of unheard of, and she becomes the first. Now, the movie's produced by Morgan Spurlock.
Oh, is it really?
It's produced by Morgan Spurlock, but also, more weirdly, and I do not know how this came about, it's also co-produced by Daisy Ridley. Because that's
She's
apparently something
the
she does.
narrator.
She is also the narrator. Apparently, that's an 11th hour edition as well. She after they sold it at Sundance, she agreed to give 5 minutes of narration to it, and she's actually quite a good narrator. They showed it without the narration, and having seen the film, I can kind of understand how that worked.
Yeah.
Because I think it would have been more of an edgy artistic piece without the narration. I think the narration grounds it slightly. We've not got a clip because it is all entirely in Kazakhstani. I thought this was really impressive, but it's impressive
Sounds
on
really interesting.
on more of a visual level. It's the kind of nature documentary in a weird way that makes you genuinely wonder why this wasn't given sort of an experimental run in IMAX. And it would, just put it on in like 1 or 2 IMAX screens across the country.
How long is the film?
I think it's about 87 minutes.
Okay, so it's not too long.
It's
then,
quite short. I feel
like a special run,
Yeah.
like BFI or something.
Yeah, something like that. It totally would fit there. And you look and think, my God, because the way they have shot this landscape, the story it's telling, and she's a really fascinating sort of figure to follow because of she's balancing, she takes on cultural norms without even really realizing it. And at the same time, she has this really tender and very touching relationship with her eagle. And we see the lengths that you have to go to capture an eaglet, which I think is the term. It's an eagle. I think that's the term for a young eagle, I think.
Okay.
I think that's what they say.
I will go with it until someone tells me it's not.
I'm pretty sure it's an eaglet. And yeah, I was really blown away by it. I thought, this is really something.
Really good.
Why you would dump this out the same week as Rogue One, I don't know, but it feels, because obviously putting something out the same week as Rogue One is kind of the same as burying it, really.
Well, it can be. It can be seen as being sort of like a
Counter-programming. This is not episode 1 on The Mummy. That was was one of the most famous examples of counter-program, but this is not a case of that.
I still can't believe that happened.
That did happen. And you know what? It worked out fine for both.
It really did.
It did. And it made Brendan Fraser a bankable star. Who knew?
Yeah. I think everyone enjoys The Mummy more than
Episode 1.
Episode
I
one,
think everybody, literally George Lucas enjoys The Mummy more than episode 1.
How much would you want to see Brendan Fraser in the new Mummy? How much?
Just a cameo.
Just walking by. Just getting on a bus or something.
I didn't. A bit something like film news for you. Don't know if you knew this. The Mummy. The Russell Crowe character turning up in The Mummy. He was meant to be Mr. Jekyll.
Yeah, am I right in thinking he's essentially going to be like a Nick Fury style?
He's going to be a Nick Fury.
Yeah, he's going to be tying threads.
Yeah, he's running what's like a SHIELD organisation.
Oh, that's cool.
It is. Dr. Jekyll is effectively running this universe's version of SHIELD. Apparently, it's called Prodigium. Prodigium. Apparently, that's the name of it, and that's how all these films are going to tie together. I came across this in a Guardian article, and I'm like, what? Where have you gotten that from? I'd never heard that.
I wasn't sure if he was going to be getting his own film or if he's just going to pop up.
Apparently, there is going to be a Jekyll and Hyde film, so make of it what you will. But yeah, Prodigium, that's your new SHIELD. It's up there with Monarch in the Godzillaverse.
Absolutely,
it's up there with Argus in the DCEU. It's up there with SHIELD in Marvel.
They've all got organisations.
Yeah, they've all got their own acronyms. They've all got their own organisations. And then in Star Wars, obviously, you have the Rebel Alliance / the Resistance. Although, who are they resisting? They're the good guys. It doesn't make any sense.
But it sounds bloody great.
It does, doesn't it? Right, so we've finished the top 10 for the week then.
Let's do it.
Number 5.
Allied, which is hanging in there. 3 weeks.
It is, but it's just not as impressive as you want it to be. And the first half has a wonderful travelogue sort of feel to it. And I love that about it, but it doesn't quite pan out that way. Once it switches to the default man against his wife thriller, and there is something really weird, by the way, about seeing Brad Pitt doing that sort of a decade after Mr. and Mrs. Smith, in which he basically did the same thing, but it was fun. And there is that weird element to it. Although I like his performance, it does show he is a classic movie star, although he feels too old for the part. It's very strange.
Yeah, it's strange because I often say about Brad Pitt, but Brad Pitt is becoming Robert Redford.
He is, and I feel like Allied is a sort of film that makes you think, why can you not just go off and become Robert Redford now?
I just wonder who's going to be the new Brad Pitt now.
Do you know who I think would be a good equivalent to Brad Pitt? If it somehow could happen, and he would be great as the lead in Allied. Just hear me out on this one. This might be bonkers or it might be brilliant. John Krasinski. I've said it. There you go.
I'll go with that.
You go with that?
I'll go with that.
Okay, yeah. There you go. John Krasinski could totally do it. It is Krasinski, isn't it?
Yeah. From the US office.
From the US office and 13 hours.
13 hours.
And also he's the new Jack Ryan for Amazon Prime. But
he is. Yeah.
He is. Looking forward to that.
And he's married to Emily Blunt. Great guy. Love John Krasinski.
Really, we all want to be John Krasinski now. It's official.
Number 4.
Office Christmas Party, a new entry.
Which is, you know what? It's like an actual office Christmas party in which you just go and you enjoy it for a couple hours and then the next morning you're kind of over it.
This is kind of the time when they all happen. It's sort of this week or next week when everyone has a big parties, isn't it?
It's very true.
Yeah. Mine sort of is on Friday. It's just got to be everyone getting drunk at the pub.
Yeah, the problem with
kind of it.
the problem with Office Christmas Party as a film is that it's just everything in it you expect. You expect T.J. Miller to be playing this character. You expect Jennifer Aniston to be playing that character. You expect Jason Bateman to be playing this character with this storyline with this actress, and you expect and then everything in it. Randall Park turns up as that character you know he always plays, and it's just. It's Christmas dinner. I know what's on the plate before I sit down. I know how every individual bit tastes because it tasted the same last year. I enjoy it, but
exactly like Christmas dinner. Isn't it good to just have it once a year, have it routinely, and know what you're getting?
That's it. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, it is another addition to the the still surprisingly thin pantheon of surprisingly slim pantheon of R-rated Christmas comedies, but because there are so few of them.
Yeah, have you watched The Night Before?
Yes, so did I.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot more the second time around.
I did as well. Have you had the pleasure of Howell and Kumar's 3D Christmas yet this year?
I have indeed. I've now seen that film 3 times.
3 times. Didn't we see that at a midnight screen together when it came out?
No, that was out before I even knew you were Presence on myself.
Oh, okay, that's fair enough. But no, I didn't mind Office Christmas Party. I just wasn't blown away by it, and I really, because Bad Santa had been such a letdown.
Yeah, you wanted
really
a good R-rated Christmas film.
That's it. I wanted to go in and I wanted to laugh until I burst. Yeah. And
just watch Scrooged.
That's it. I'm going to have to. Yeah, that's it.
Number 3.
Sully, Miracle on the Hudson.
You hate reading that subtitle.
I hate reading that. I hate when films are marketed as one thing in one country, and then because maybe the incident it was based on happened in a different country or whatever, they decide to tag on this extra
13 hours, the secret soldiers of Benghazi. You know?
Yeah, I hate it.
Like, what?
They always tag it on in like the bloody 11th hour.
Oh, do you remember when they released Fast 5 in this country and they named it Fast and Furious 5 Rio Heist? And I have never seen a DVD box with that cover on since.
No.
It's never happened.
It's terrible.
I've only seen that poster once, and it was in a secluded corridor in Cineworld. So they stuck it in like
just took it away.
They put it in a corner where no one could see it.
Yeah.
But no, Sully is basically a high-end TV movie, really, if anything else.
It's really well shot, it's really well made.
It's very high-end.
Well acted.
It's very high-end.
Yeah.
But it is a TV movie. It is a serialized drama. It's you know what? If this had come out as a one-off Netflix drama, you'd go a lot easier on it, wouldn't you?
I would have much preferred to see a documentary about it.
Yeah, actually, I'd go with that as well. But
because he's still around. Sully's still around, and when this happened, he was giving talks and he was on chat shows, which is quite well documented in the film.
Very true.
Yeah, he's on like Letterman and stuff.
No, Clint Eastwood has his sense of American Regency.
Has Clint Eastwood ever made a doc?
I don't know, actually.
That'd be interesting.
That would be interesting. Yeah. But Sully is. You won't mind it. It's not bad. Not a bad film or anything like that. It's just you're not particularly good. You're not going to come away going, "Oh my god, that was good. That was gripping and intense." You're going to come away and go, "It was alright."
Number 2,
Moana, which I've also seen.
Go for it.
I've also seen.
Come on, lay it on me because you've been itching to hit me back for this. Go on.
I have. I do not think that it is the equivalent to Hunchback.
You don't? Okay. What's the equivalent for you?
Maybe Pocahontas.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I'll go with that.
I'd say Pocahontas.
Fine.
I think the songs were actually more memorable that some people are given credit to. I think it continues to be a fantastic addition to this. I guess it'd be the third golden age of Disney now, wouldn't it?
Would be,
I suppose, if the second was in the mid-90s.
What, early?
Yeah, I thought it was great. I thought the rock was really well cast. I've forgotten the name of the lady who voices Moana, but I thought she was great.
Caravallo.
Yeah. There is a scene where Jermaine Clement absolutely steals it, and I will not spoil it.
Well, it's like his only scene. So.
It's his only scene, but he steals the whole film. Yeah, essentially singing a Flight of the Conchords song.
Effectively, yes.
Yeah, but no, it was great. I can't wait to see it again.
Number 1.
Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Spoiler, New York. That's where you go and find them.
That's where you find them. Put that thing back where it came from. Also Help Me. Goosebumps for the Harry Potter verse. Doctor Who Goes to Magic Land.
Which would a much better title.
Really, it is what it is what it is, and it's one of those films. It is critic proof. It really is. The Harry Potter fan base is so rabid now, and the universe so generally appealing that it's critic proof in the way that a Bond film is. And
yeah, we can say that it's It's not the best.
It's
It's
a perfectly fine franchise
It's
launcher.
perfectly serviceable.
That's it. It's a franchise launcher, and to be fair, it's going to sell some ones. And does it need to do anything else?
With the latest film news and reviews. This is Offscreen, the on-screen radio show.
And we're back and dancing. So now that the needle's been dropped, what do you got for me, Mr. Al?
I got some news about a film that we reviewed. Was it last week or the week previous? It's a film called Mum's List.
That was
Rafe Spall.
2 or 3 weeks ago, I think.
Something like that, yeah. They're actually launching a pretty worthwhile cause. I don't know if you've heard about this. It's going to be called the Mum's List Legacy. It's going to be a series of workshops.
Yeah, I heard about it, yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to be like a self-help mindfulness
seminar workshop type
kind of thing. Yeah, it's going to help people coping with loss and grief, essentially.
Oh.
Pretty worthwhile, yeah. Just a quick recap about what the film is basically about.
This is the one where Rafe Spall's wife died of cancer and he had to raise his kids based on a series of lists that she post-it notes she left behind.
Yeah, that is exactly right, yeah.
Right, okay.
So this cause is going to be supporting people that have gone through some pretty tough times in regards to losing.
It was a true story, wasn't it?
Loved ones. And it was indeed a true story.
It was a true story that became a novel, that became a film, that has now become a workshop.
That'll become something else. It'll become... Yeah.
Wow, okay. And presumably all for charity.
Worthwhile.
And,
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, if you would like to know more about it, go to mllworkshops.com. You find all the pertinent information right there at your fingertips.
Intriguing.
Yeah, I'm going to have a look at that myself, actually. Could be pretty helpful.
There we are then.
Yeah.
So, final review of the week then.
Last one, what have you got for me, sir?
Through the Wall, Rama Bernstein directing. This is, we're not going to clip because it's entirely in Hebrew. This is, I'm going to pitch this to you basically as my big fat Hassidic wedding.
I've been waiting for that remake.
Yeah, you could almost call this, but rather than being the broad comedy that Big Fat Greek Wedding was, this is a little bit. This is more of a dramedy of a sense, more of an almost quasi-tragic kind of dramedy. You've got a young woman, about 32, 33-year-old woman named Michelle, and she's been engaged. She's a month out from her wedding, and her fiance sits her down one day and says, "I don't want to marry you anymore. I'm not in love with you anymore." And she decides, rather than giving in to sort of post-breakup depression, what she's going to do instead, and this is mental, what she's going to do instead is she's going to keep the wedding date and the venue and everything booked.
Right.
And she's going to turn up on the day to the wedding in a month's time, and in the meanwhile, God can find her groom.
Right.
Because as she puts it, I've sorted the catering and the dress. The least God can do is get me the guy.
That was going to be my plan B if Cassie decided she didn't want to do it.
I did notice you were very nervous that morning.
Throw it out to the wind. Yeah, more so than usual, which is usually quite a lot.
Although I do remember she was about 20 minutes late. So.
Funny story, do you know why that was?
Go on.
Because we had services for tea and coffee and stuff all set up.
Yeah.
Everybody forgot to buy milk and sugar.
Oh, fair enough.
So I was walking around doing the last minute
You could
checks.
just ask me to pop out. I'm just putting it out there.
No, I had to get my best man who was picking up Cassie for the wedding to go out and buy milk. So that's why they were 15 minutes late.
I really hope he stopped at Morrison's and left her in the car in full bridal gear.
I think that he did.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Sorry, back to this wedding in the meanwhile.
Just an anecdote about my life.
So that's it. She's waiting for the groom. She's waiting for fate to deliver her groom. She meets men over the course of this month, and it's what's going to happen? Is she going to find the soulmate? Does destiny want to help her out? Is there a God who can do this for her? And rather than go for the broad comedy, they decide to play it for all the emotional ringing they can, and it is actually quite affecting. It's actually got this great performance at the centre of it all. The writing is quite crisp, quite sharp. It's one of those films that does. You think from the initial concept that what you're in for is something like serendipity, a ludicrous, it's all in the stars, kind of all about the whimsy, but it's not. It plays it a lot straighter than that, and I really liked it as a result. But, do pitch it as my big fat Hassidic wedding, but slightly less serious, slightly more serious than the Greek equivalent. Yeah. But I think it's going to find its audience. I think it's a Curzon film, and that's exactly where it's going to find its audience. Yeah. It's completely...
It'll play to a certain
in the Curzon, it's totally going to find that audience in there. It is in the right place for it. But it's not film of the week anyway. I'm sorry, I can't give it film of the week.
I wonder what is.
Well, I think we can hazard a guess on this one. It is, of course, none other than Mr. Rogue One, ladies and gentlemen, which it's terrific. Everyone needs to see this as soon as possible. We're going to keep using that siren forever now.
Yeah, I'm going to have it as my alarm. I get really freaked out every
I've got
morning.
it as my text tone on my phone. But
Put your phone on silent when you go see a film.
exactly. So Rogue One, totally go and see this. It's awesome.
It is awesome.
Like, I genuinely cannot believe how good this is. And like I say, bigger, bolder, braver than
Do you know what,
Force
it's
Awakens.
like a lot of the other much better blockbusters this year. It's one of those blockbusters where you finish it when you're thinking about it for like the next day afterwards.
Yeah, I will go with that because I have found myself. It has sat with me. I would
Keep
say
going
Sat
back to
quite
it
a while.
in my mind. So,
So-
yeah, that's good.
Let's have a look what we've got next week. We've got some interesting ones because the film screen, the press screens are kind of all over the place at the minute. So we're getting a lot for.
We're in the run up to Christmas.
So next week on the podcast edition only, we have Monster Trucks because I can't legally review it until 12:01 on Boxing Day, which means we can't put it on the radio edit. We can put it
just
out
a
on the
podcast.
podcast, and then I have to swap the podcast out for the version that has it at 12:01 on Boxing Day, which I can automate, thankfully. We also have Operation Chromite, the Liam Neeson one. That is Boxing Day as well, so we're going to review that next week. In fact, we're going to do the New Year's Day ones as well. So we've got a Monster Calls. We've got that to look forward to. What else have we got now? We've got Passengers as well, the Chris Pratt, Jennifer Lawrence sci-fi movie. We've got Silence. Scorsese's back.
Marty Scorsese.
Marty goes monk on us. We've got Assassin's Creed because apparently there have been not enough video games have been turned to movies this year.
No, so that's Michael Fassbender.
Michael Fassbender.
Face of Shark.
We've got Why Him? James Franco versus
Yeah,
Bryan Cranston. I mean,
Do you know who else was in that?
who on?
Keegan-Michael Key.
Yes, I do know
Playing
that.
his manservant.
And a film that we're all waiting for now that it's come out that's apparently awful, Collateral Beauty, in which Will Smith meets death, love, and
Time?
Time, death, and love. Yeah, which what could possibly go wrong with that concept?
That's got a great cast.
It has got a great cast.
Michael Penner's in it.
Exactly. So, Mikey P, we'll see how Mikey P fares against Will Smith next week. So, in the meanwhile, this has been a Candy Store production for On Screen. I've been Van Connor.
I've been, as always, Case Allen.
And we'll be back.
Just show me the way to get out of here, and I'll be on my way.
You've been listening to Offscreen. For more news and reviews, visit onscreenfilm.com.
Podcast extras then, Mr. Allen. So, you want to give me some film news, tide us over so we
I'll
review...
get a few little pieces before we
Son
get
of
some
Joseph.
more film reviews out of you. So, the Critics' Choice Awards.
Oh, yeah, this was the other awards this week, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's one of the first sort of big ones that kicks off the awards season. They handed out all their prizes the other night. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to have the top 5.
Go on.
So that'll be Best Picture, Actor, Actress, Supporting Actor, and Supporting Actress. It's up to you, my friend, to guess them. So who are we going to say for Supporting Actress?
Supporting actress.
Film and Actress.
Ooh, supporting is a difficult one because I always get hung up on this.
That's why I'm starting here. I'm starting hard.
Oh, well.
Because I think you can guess Best Picture.
Probably. I don't know. No, I don't know supporting actress. I'm terrible with supporting actress and actor.
Okay. The film is Fences.
Oh, is it...
Viola Davis.
Viola Davis, yeah.
Yeah, who is the front runner now for Best Supporting Actress at the Academy Awards.
I would be very happy with that. I like
She's been
Viola Davis
nominated
very much.
twice, I believe. She's nominated for was it for Doubt and for
The Help?
The Help.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be really, really happy for her to get that. Absolutely.
I would. I like Viola Davis very much. She's got a TV show now, hasn't she?
Yes, Shondaland.
How to Get Away with Murder.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's part of Shonda Rhimes' crew.
Okay. So
Okay,
go on,
moving on to Best Supporting Actor. Who are we saying?
Best supporting actor. It's not Mark Rylance of the BFG, so
Thank God.
I don't know. Is it Kieran Sony for Deadpool? I don't know.
No, I think I'm the only person trying to go for Karen Sony for Deadpool.
God, who is it?
Mahershala Ali.
For Moonlight.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
He's
Mahershala
getting
Ali.
a big push for that film.
I can see why. He's so good in everything he's been in lately. And I mean, even Luke Cage on Netflix, he was so amazing in
Come
that.
Off was great, yeah.
That really was.
And even that was a great twist, but
That he isn't the, yeah.
Okay, Best Actress.
Best actress. Okay.
This is the most crowded field, I would say.
Did Michelle Williams get it for Manchester by the Sea?
No, because she's up for supporting. They're pushing her
Oh,
supporting.
okay.
Yeah.
No, that would have been my guess. Then would have been Michelle Williams. Is it Natalie Portman for Jackie?
It is.
Is it?
For Jackie, yeah.
Holy crap! I got one.
But it's been looked as sort of like a push between her, Ruth Negga for Loving.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And also Emma Stone for La La Land. So it's a real tight one.
I think the thing I love about the idea that Ruth Negga is getting all this publicity for Loving is that she, to me, she's the girl in the flower dress from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
that's what she is, because I'd never seen her in anything before.
I know her from Preacher.
Yes, she's done Preacher. She left Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and has gone into Preacher.
Absolutely. Okay, last two, Best Actor.
Best Actor. Oh, okay. Hold on. Is it Joel Edgerton for Loving?
No.
Oh, okay then.
I mean, they are making a push for him as well.
I would imagine so. I'm surprised about that one. Okay, it's not going to be Tom Hanks for Sully. Let's be honest. It's not going to be Liam Neeson for A Monster Calls.
Best Tree Monster.
Best Tree Monster. He's credited on the poster, by the way, as just The Monster.
The Monster.
But no, don't know. Go on.
Okay, Casey Affleck.
Casey Affleck from Manchester by the Sea.
Which makes me so happy.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah, that's cool. So hopefully that'll give him a bit of a boost. And finally, Best Picture. I'm sure you can get this one.
Was that Manchester by the Sea?
No, it wasn't. You have failed.
Okay, is that Loving?
No,
is
you
it
have
Moonlight?
failed even.
Is it Moonlight?
You continue to fail.
What is
you
it
can't
then?
stop failing.
Is it Arrival?
It is La La Land.
Oh, La La Land. Okay, well, fair enough.
It's musicals.
No. I'm looking forward to La La Land.
I can't wait for La La Land.
You know, I'm intrigued by it. Yeah, I've not even seen a trailer. Have
you not seen the trailer?
No.
We should
held
do
back.
that after we've
No. I'm holding
because
because of it being a musical. I want to hold back and just I want to do the experience.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, not much is spoiled in terms of the songs.
Well, you know, people have told me it's great and everything, and I don't know anything particularly about the any ins and outs of the story and anything like that.
It's an original musical.
That's it.
Set in LA.
So I'm
all you need to
content
know.
to leave it and just see the film cold.
Yeah.
And it's the first press show back from Christmas, incidentally.
That'll be a good way to ease you in.
Yeah, I feel like that's going to be an interesting morning. But
okay, after your absolute failure of guessing all those, should we have a review? Try and redeem yourself.
Okay. Should we talk about...
Ben, I'll be nice. I'll give some more news.
Okay. We'll talk about The Son of Joseph then, which is French film Le Fils de Joseph, I believe. Stars, a bunch of people you don't really know, but it does have, as its figurehead, Matthew Amalric? Remember from Blue Room?
Yeah. And Grand Budapest Hotel, isn't that?
And a former Bond villain, whom everyone likes to forget was a Bond villain, largely because the movie sucked. But
what exactly is a quantum?
Exactly. What is a quantum and why is it so lonely? Anyway, so what you've got here is a story of a young Parisian teenager. So the film's entirely in French language. A young Parisian teenager. He's been raised with no knowledge of his father. His mother has never really imparted the knowledge of who his dad was on him. One day he discovers by chance his dad is not only alive, but his mum has been in contact with him, that his dad knows about him and wants nothing to do with him, despite his mother's requests, please acknowledge your son. He tracks down the dad, who is Matthew Almeric, and just almost instinctively, without even thinking, ties him to a chair and torments him, and then runs fleeing from the building. He's later found, and the search is on for this Parisian teenager. In the meanwhile, he winds up befriending a man who turns out to be his uncle, who's Matthew Almeric's almost resentful brother, and the two strike a sort of a bizarre parental bond. So he winds up seeing more of a father figure in his uncle than his actual father, who he just instinctively dislikes. And what you've got is actually this really sweet relationship that develops between this teenage boy, his biological uncle, and between the uncle and the mother as well, and they become a sort of unlikely family unit. And in the background as well, you have the idea that the police and everything are looking for this kid, but because he lives a certain distance away, they don't seem to be able to find him. And it's this really intriguing kind of, there's something farcical about it. It's not an outright farce, but there is a light-hearted, dark-hearted twinge to it, if you know what I mean. There's a loose, dark-hearted twinge to it. It's by Eugene Green, whose work I don't know particularly offhand. He is La Sapienza. Remember that? Sapienza?
Yeah, vaguely. Yeah.
See, I never got the pleasure of that one. Let's see, La Sapienza, The Portuguese Nun, Correspondences, Memories, The Living World. No, I'm not familiar with Eugene Green's work, to be honest. But I thought...
I like that his first name rhymes with his surname.
Eugene Green, yeah, I know.
I always appreciate that in a person.
Well, we do have Johan Johansson, is my favourite name.
Great name.
That is a great name, isn't it?
Yeah, isn't it?
What he did the score for recently?
For Arrival.
For Arrival, that's it. Because we're just talking about Arrival all the time now.
And we'll continue to talk about it in our
Top 10 of the year, probably.
Top 10 of the year.
But yeah, I did like it. I thought it was really well staged. I thought it had an intriguing setup. I thought it was quite cleverly put together. I liked the performance at the centre of it all. Matthew Almeric, I thought, played Sleaze really well, because he's just an almost requisitely sleazy
Did he
dad.
play Sleaze with ease?
Sleaze with ease, as it were. But Victor Esenfi, who plays Vincent, the teenage boy at Centre, he is terrific. I thought he was great. He really emotes, but he plays it in a sort of almost dour way. Like, I don't really want to do this. I feel like I'm doing this because I have to, like I have an obligation to. And then then you have the whole relationship with the uncle, which I thought unfolded really nice. I thought it was a really sweet relationship. But I quite liked it. I really did. But
Cool. It sounds good.
If you're into your European cinema, then you can do a lot worse. I'd say there's more mainstream appeal in this, for instance, than Blue Room recently.
Which we watched a couple of months ago.
Oh, did you watch Blue Room?
I haven't
as well?
seen it now. Yeah.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah. Supposed to be good. Do you want some more news?
Over to you. Yep.
So the trailer for Fast and Furious 8 dropped.
Oh yes.
Dropped on Sunday. With it, dropped a poster and also a new title. Do you know what that title is?
I do, because it annoys me.
It annoys me, but then I switch off the intellectual part of my brain and switch on the, oh, look, cars and explosions.
No.
part of my brain.
It annoys me because they missed a trick.
I know what you're going to say.
Yeah.
First of all, the title is The Fate of the Furious.
Fate of the Furious,
Is the trick spelling it F and then with an 8?
Yeah, because that's the hashtag. The hashtag that they're marketing with, the Twitter hashtag, is hashtag F8. Now, why is it not the F8 of the Furious?
I appreciate they've done it like this and not like Tack-Farine or 5-0 Destination or Fan 4 Stick. Yeah, I hate that trope. I hate it.
With Fast and Furious, Fast and Furious
I'm like,
is
it is so brazen and bold and just dumb that it just says, look, fate rhymes with 8.
But that's the thing. This movie belongs to a franchise that invented that trend.
Yeah.
Fast and Furious invented the idea of sticking numbers ridiculously in your title, regardless of whether or not they made any sense, because nobody in their right mind would logically have assumed Too Fast, Too Furious would have been the title for the second one at all.
Yeah.
Fast 5 is an almost genius.
I'm not even too sure where
title.
that even lands in the continuity of the film anymore. I'm just...
Why is 2 in there twice? Is it the 22nd?
Like,
is it the
it's more
fourth
confusing
one?
with Star Wars, isn't it?
I don't know.
It's mad. But that comes out April.
It does. The trailer is so badass. It really is.
A submarine chasing cars.
No.
which I believe is how I sold you the film. I'd seen the trailer before you, and I text you.
You text me there's a submarine car chase. I'm like, I'm so on this.
I am in, yeah. Dom Toretto might be a clone. Who knows?
I don't know what that is.
I won't put it past him to have... He might have some kind of like evil microchip in his neck. It might be an evil clone robot.
I've got a text from Calvin. Calvin watched it, and I forget what he said. And it was this brilliantly succinct, dumbed down version of what it was, in which he commented on the fact that Vin Diesel was like all in black, and he said,
"Yeah,
hang on, it's somewhere in here. I see. We've just
it's kind of like the Nega version."
The negative, the inverse, the negative version of, But I've got 2 pages of, here we are. I've got 2 pages of Star Wars talk on my text feed with Calvin. That's what he said. So, with Vin Diesel's dark Deathstroke outfit in The Fate of the Furious, it's officially become a superhero franchise with cars, and I am totally okay with that.
I think that happened a long time ago. I think that ship or car.
that sub.
That submarine
sailed.
I want to watch it again. Right, Patrick Wilson.
Go on.
I like him a lot. He is strong, sturdy, he is reliable.
He has terrified me ever since Hard Candy.
Oh my god, yeah. That is...
We tend to forget that chapter, don't we?
Yeah, I think for a reason. I think it's been blocked a little bit. He's going to be in Aquaman, which of course being directed by his pal
James Wan.
James Wan.
Oh, because there's some of a good luck charm to James Wan, because he's got the Not Insidious. Is it Insidious?
Yeah,
did Insidious with him.
And
Conjuring.
Yeah. I almost said The Conjuring then. Did
Insidious? He's done The Conjuring. So there's a connection. He's got
they
the
have
connection
something of a
with them.
partnership, yeah. But he's going to be a bad guy, which is great because I don't think he plays villain.
He's going to be Orm, the Ocean Master,
who is the evil half brother of
Aquaman. Which means, think about that for a second. It means there is going to be a superhero movie in which we are genuinely expected to believe that Jason Momoa and Patrick Wilson are related. I mean, seriously.
Well, half brother.
Half brother.
Which half?
I don't know, from the waist down?
I don't know. Patrick he could put on some muscle between now and then.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah,
But,
it's more the skin colour.
Yeah, there is that, actually, because Jason Momoa is quite tan, isn't he? Because is he Polynesian originally, Jason Momoa?
I believe so, yeah.
No, I think he might be Hawaiian. I think he might actually be Hawaiian.
No, he is Hawaiian, yeah, he is, yeah.
Because he got his start in Baywatch Hawaii.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Which
Yeah.
is just weird if you ever see a picture of him now.
I remember he was on the red
hair.
carpet or something, and someone asked him if he surfed, and he was like, dude, I'm Hawaiian.
But yeah.
Thus cemented him as a true badass.
Yes. I mean, there's that
already knew
video on Facebook where you see him drinking Guinness and throwing a hatchet at a dartboard.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty badass.
That's
there.
pretty cool, yeah. Right, we were talking a little bit about Jekyll.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
Jekyll. Did you ever see Jekyll years ago when it was on BBC One?
Yeah, so this is the James Nesbitt BBC one. Yeah.
Which was the actual miniseries was written and produced by Stephen Moffat, who now runs Doctor Who.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Oh, I did. It was great.
I thought it was
terrific.
cool. Yeah. There was going to be a remake, a US remake.
Well, it's actually a feature film version as well.
Oh yeah,
So,
sorry,
yeah.
apologies. Yeah, it's going to be a feature film directed by Ruben Fleischer, who did Zombieland and
Gangster Squad.
Gangster Squad, but we'll not talk about that so much. 30 minutes or less, which I think is okay.
Passable.
It's passable.
Yeah.
Aziz Ansari's funny in it. He's going to be at the helm. Chris Evans is going to be Jekyll.
Yeah, well, in this
Yeah.
version, Tom Jackman. Because because obviously this version
Right, yeah,
is not actually.
it's a modern day
What's the
retelling.
thing? He's not actually Dr. Jekyll. He is the descendant of.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
This is the idea. He's the descendant of the real guy. And he's inherited the curse. And I think, if I'm remembering the series correctly, he'd found a way to sort of lock himself up when he was about to turn. And he had a psychiatric
Yes.
nurse friend who sort of helped him to combat it. And that was the idea that Jekyll, or I think it's pronounced Jekyll, I think, was actually one of the things.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And they
been a while since
basically
I've
found
seen
that he would torment the psychiatric nurse instead. It was a really dark, really grim series. I remember there being a scene in which James Nesbitt, in full Jekyll mode, went after a bunch of monkeys in a zoo.
I really hope they keep that darkness to it, that intensity.
I do, but
That'd
I
be great.
also hope that they keep the transformation the same way, because the James Nesbitt performance, basically they lifted his hairline and made his eyes completely dark, and that was it.
He looked mental.
He did. He looked genuinely terrifying.
Yeah.
It was one of the few times I can genuinely look at James Nesbitt and say, what an actor, what a performance.
You've never watched Cold Feet, then?
I've watched Cold Feet. I watched the most recent series.
I've actually not seen the reboot.
Have you not? It's not really a reboot. It's just the next
It's
series.
just
It's just the next series.
Just continue. Just years later.
And it's got, as James Nesbitt's new wife, the chick who plays Princess Jasmine in Once Upon a Time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which made me very happy because I enjoyed her presence greatly on screen.
Kudos, ITV. Kudos.
Kudos to you. Kudos to you.
Okay. Marky Mark. Let's talk about Marky Mark.
Marky Mark
and his Funky Bunch.
I was going to say, has he reunited with the Funky Bunch finally? Has this
Not yet. This
dark
is
chapter
not
of
the
our
news.
lives come to a close?
As soon as that happens, that will be the only piece of film news.
Yeah, because my life is on hold until the Funky Bunch reunite.
Yeah, stop making films with Peter Berg. They're all great.
Yeah.
They're all very...
We all love Peter Berg,
Yeah.
it's fine, but can we have the Funky Bunch back, please, Mark? Come on.
Well, I have some news about him not being in a film anymore. Once upon a time, he was attached to be Nathan Drake in the Uncharted film.
Yeah, based on the PlayStation game.
Based on the successful PlayStation franchise. That isn't going to be happening because Sean Levy, or Sean Levi...
I think he's Levy.
I always say Levy, yeah. Who did Real Steel... Yep, and other films as well. He is doing that now, so Marky Mark is no longer attached. He says he wishes them all well. It's not going to happen. Frankly, I've seen Max Payne. I'm fine with Marky Mark not being in
Marky Mark, you don't need any more
film.
video game movies, man. You had your time. I think the reason he was attached is because David O. Russell was attached at one stage.
Yeah, and also it was going to be Joe Pesci and Robert De Niro.
Oh, dear God.
Once upon a time. Which is
just madness at foot.
parallel world.
Madness is afoot.
Yeah. Hey, what sequel are you most looking forward to?
God's Not Dead 3.
I thought you were going to say An Inconvenient Truth 2.
Do you know what? I'll be really honest with you. I don't think I've ever seen Inconvenient Truth all the way through.
Oh, are you actually Donald Trump in disguise?
I am, yes. Well, the top of my head is so large, so I have to fit
And
my...
you have such tiny hands.
Yeah, I have to fit my ferret-like head hairpiece into this van mask that I wear.
Dead marmot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We are getting a sequel to An Inconvenient Truth.
I take, is it Al Gore again?
It is, yeah.
Oh,
Al
right,
Gore
okay.
again. I'm not entirely sure what it's going to be about, but I'm assuming it's just going to be a continuation of
It's one of those sequel pitches where you genuinely can't reply with, "Didn't we learn all we needed to from the first one?" Because obviously we didn't.
No, we did not, and that's why Donald Trump is president, and that's why he is.
We learned nothing.
He's making the cabinet picks that he is making.
Oh god, this is the problem, because the election of Donald Trump does mean that there are a lot of documentaries that kind of have to change their trajectory ever so slightly now. I did that Coming War with China recently, where they apparently had to change it at the 11th hour. They had to change certain things to reflect the fact that Donald Trump had been elected, because otherwise you'd be releasing a documentary that wouldn't fit.
Well, Al Gore did recently meet Donald Trump in Trump Tower. Cameras weren't. Well, other cameras weren't allowed. He had his own crew and stuff. So maybe that will be part of a documentary. That'd be fascinating.
It really would, because you would imagine that's got to be the logic behind why do a sequel. The logic behind why do a sequel has got to be that there is a guy going into office
doesn't believe in
climate change, who wants to 180 everything that we've done, everything that's gone on there about climate change. So you've got to imagine that kind of is the momentum behind it. That's the genesis of why do a sequel.
Yeah.
Because otherwise there wouldn't be much left to say. It's just...
We are living in a world where there is someone that is now the energy secretary who couldn't remember the department that he is now in charge of on live telly and doesn't believe in it, and said that he wanted to completely 86 it. He wanted to just get rid of it.
Yeah, funny that, isn't it?
Yeah.
It really is. But I tell you, it's a laugh a minute with a Trump presidency, huh?
Absolutely. But this is not a political show, so let's move on to film news before I get sad and cry.
For a change.
That's it. Hey, Ruby Rose from Orange is the New Black.
I love Ruby Rose.
I am not as fond, but
you know that Doctor,
she's a thing. So
you know that Doctor Who episode where everyone in the world becomes John Sim? Yeah. Have you ever seen that? I wish that would happen with Ruby Rose and I was the only guy left alive. That's my fantasy in life.
So you could get your arse handed to you by 100 different Ruby Roses.
Yeah, but I figure if everybody in the world looked like Ruby Rose, then eventually you would find someone with low enough standards that you'd finally stand a chance.
No, I would think they would all have the same standards and you would just end up alone.
Well, that's true, but then again, to keep the gene pool alive, I'd have to... I'm going off topic. I'm going off topic. This is my own I Am legend.
Isn't Ruby Rose... gay in real life as well?
No, I think she swings both ways.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's the whole thing. I think she considers herself sort of asexual.
All right, then. Well, in this parallel, never going to happen universe, you may have a shot, probably.
As long as we know.
But in this version of Earth, she is in talks to be in Pitch Perfect 3.
Yes, I heard this, because she's got 2 action movies on the way in the next couple of months. We've got John Wick 2, Triple X 3... And then she's going to be Pitch Perfect 3.
Yeah, so if there's going to be a sequel, she's going to be in it.
And then presumably Fast 9. And
oh, of course she's going to be in Fast 9.
Totally going to be in Fast 9. Although, I've got to admit, the latest trailer for Triple X 3 seems to focus a lot on her, and she looks badass in it.
She does look very cool.
She does look very, very cool.
Yeah, she's like an assassin of some sort.
I think she is, yeah. I think she's a sniper or assassin or something. I know in John Wick she is a genuine out-and-out assassin.
Right.
I think she's a villain in it.
Ooh.
But begging the question, how do you follow on from Adrian Palicki? You go and get Ruby Rose. That's how you make that better. But do love me some Ruby Rose.
Maybe I will get on board. We shall see. It seems like she's going to be in like every film.
I think you should just get used to her because she's going to be everywhere sooner or later, like John Sim in that Doctor Who episode.
It's coming true. Hey, Kubo and the Two Strings.
Yeah,
that is a film that we both really
both
enjoyed.
adored, didn't we?
It's absolutely fantastic. Love me some Leica. It's finally going to be getting a Chinese release. Because it wasn't released when it was released in the rest of the world. So it's finally going to be...
because they've got a quota in China about foreign films. They have a quota that you're only allowed to release so many per year. I think they actually have an annual limit of foreign films that you can actually release. They also have a rule as well that a film has to be in IMAX 3D, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I believe that's one of the rules of China. So I imagine that's a factor in it.
So that film would have to be converted?
It would. I think it was in 3D, though, wasn't it?
It was in 3D, but obviously not in IMAX. So it wouldn't be too much of a stretch, you want to think.
No, really. You can retrofit anything to IMAX. Just ask 20th Century Fox. They seem to retrofit every release they have into IMAX.
That's one of those films I feel like it would benefit absolutely in IMAX 3D. But
There's some great landscapes and everything.
Absolutely,
isn't there?
yeah.
The ocean sequences in IMAX be
absolutely.
amazing.
There's like weird eyeball screen things, yeah. But then you could also watch it on a really small iPad screen and still get something else from it as well.
I once tried for an experiment watching Gravity on an iPad.
Oh, that wouldn't have the same effect.
I really didn't.
I don't think that would work
I really didn't.
as well. Did you hear about Ryan Gosling being punched in the face by Harrison Ford?
No, I had not heard about that, and I just... What did he do? Ask him to take the earring out? What?
Hey, Harrison, what's the deal with that earring? You don't look cool. You're 95. Smack.
It's just... Did you know, by the way, that there is... I think there's an Indiana Jones comic book that was actually created solely to explain... Either a comic book or a novel that was created way back when, solely to explain how Indiana Jones survived the journey on the submarine at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Really?
Yeah. And the actual explanation ultimately boils down to he took his belt off and secured his wrist to the periscope.
Makes sense.
That's it.
Yeah.
And wow, okay, fine.
Indy's like MacGyver.
It really is.
Give him some paper clips, he can do wonders.
I've been watching the reboot of MacGyver. It's awesome. It's so dumb.
I've not got into it yet.
It's so
not got into
stupid,
it.
but I love it.
And he is in
Monster Trucks. Yeah, he is, yeah. So is Jane Levy, by the way. Did you know?
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's a love interest.
I like her. She's very cool. But yeah, Ryan Gosling, he got punched in the face by Harrison Ford. So this is...
Why?
While shooting... He didn't just say something insulting. It wasn't just like...
Hang on,
why did Han die?
had Harrison Ford watched Only God Forgives? Because I feel like I would have done the same thing.
God may forgive you, but I don't. He did that while pointing at him.
Punches in the face. Where's my family? Give me back my family.
They were shooting a scene for...
They better be alive, you son of a bitch.
Enough terrible Harrison Ford impressions. They were shooting a scene for upcoming sequel to Blade Runner.
Blade Runner
2049.
2000. Yeah.
Yep. And apparently things went slightly awry, and he accidentally punched him in the face.
As you do. We've
Things
all been there.
happen.
We've all
Things
been
happen.
there.
We've all been punched by Harrison Ford.
Yeah, it's just one of those things you realize when you get punched in the face. And if you're a guy that installs set dressing doors, then definitely so.
You get punched with a lawsuit. That's how you get
punched with a lawsuit.
So, do you want to give me the final film review?
So, final film review, which is Crash and Burn, which is a documentary about, and this is the quote on the poster, the greatest racing legend, the greatest racing champion you didn't know. Tommy Byrne. And this is this really intriguing look at... I didn't know this story. So, you remember Senna?
I do.
It was about 5-6 years ago now, Senna?
Something like that.
And it sort of brought Asif Kapadia out into the world, really, as this great documentary.
He went to my uni.
Oh, he said this, didn't he?
Went to Newport Uni, yeah. He's the first person from Newport Uni ever to win an Oscar.
Really? I think Sheffield Hallam has Nick Park.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Anyway, so... So you had Senna, and now what you've got is, this is sort of the counterpoint, because it turns out Senna had a rival that we didn't know. It doesn't really come up in Senna. You have Tommy Byrne, who was basically a braggadocious, hedonistic, arrogant piece of work. He also happened to be an absolute god behind the wheel. And the problem was, he was poor. He came from nothing. He never had any money. Any money he did get, he spent on drink and women. By his own admittance, and his own admission. I'll get words eventually. Basically,
I've got words. I've got the best words.
I know words. I know the best words.
I'm like a really smart person.
Yeah, that's why I don't need intelligence.
Sorry, continue.
Yeah. So that's the thing. He does a lot of stop laughing at Donald Trump.
I just keep doing that.
Why do you shrink your hands when you do it as well?
Because he's got tiny hands.
I know.
He's got tiny hands.
So he does a lot of very frank, introspective discussion in this, and it's really something to behold. It's just basically the story of this racer who made it over the space of just a few years, made it from nothing all the way to Formula One, and just as soon as it looked like he was going to become the champion, it was taken away from him, and it was taken away from him really out of snobbery more than anything else. We've got a clip.
He became the forgotten talent because he arrived so quick and he disappeared so quick.
Brilliant, Tommy Byrne. Tommy Byrne. Tommy Byrne. Magnificent. Tommy Byrne is in a class of his own.
When I was racing, I didn't think I was the best driver in the world. I knew I was the best driver in the world. true talent really stands out, like Ayrton Senna, Alan Prost, Michael Schumacher, and Tommy had the talent of these guys for sure.
He got from nothing to Formula One in little more than 4 years.
You knew he was going to go places because of his prodigious talent. You just didn't know how high that elevator was going to go because of his personality.
Tommy Byrne was wild. The problem is, he may have gone just too far.
So, as I say, he was wild, he may have gone too far, and he doesn't seem to be entirely unaware of this. In fact, he's very frank about it. It is an interesting story, because I didn't know it, and it seems a lot of people didn't know this story. I was really, really fascinated by this man and his look back on his own past. It was the inverse of Uncle Howard, because Uncle Howard was this figure that you didn't know and you're getting a eulogy for, and here you're getting a figure that you've never heard of, but you've heard of him in context. The context in which he works for you a lot better. There's a lot of archival footage, and they don't restrain themselves in the portrait that they paint. They're not particularly fussed about shying away from painting him in a negative light, and he himself is very upfront about it. It's very admirable to do. It is intriguing. It's directed with a pretty interesting pace. It is, if anything, it's dialed down, especially in the wake of something like Senna, which kind of holds the sort of tablet for this sort of a documentary. It is dialed down to the extent that you do feel like this inevitably will find its home in, a 2-hour dead spot on Sky Sports F1. And to be fair, that is going to be the audience for it. Chris Wilson, a Formula One fanatic, I asked him at the weekend, do you know who Tommy Byrne is? No. I'm like, okay, well, apparently he's a Formula One guy. He didn't know. And if he doesn't know, I'd have to believe that it is a fairly unknown story. That it ties into Senna the way it does as well is actually very intriguing, because it is nice to see this other side of him. The whole gist of it seems to be they had a rivalry which came about because Tommy Byrne came along first, was amazing, and then every time he really achieved something, a year later Senna would come along, do the same thing. Everyone would ignore the fact that Tommy Byrne ever did it and would just focus on Senna.
It's a shame.
Because it was the rich guy versus the poor guy, and this was the problem. As Tommy Byrne himself puts it at one point, people can smell when you're poor. And it is that kind of story. It's a story about class. It is a story about the projection of economics. It's a story about missed opportunities and wasted potential. And it is actually quite fascinating. I mean, he works in a driving school now, effectively.
Really?
Yeah,
so he's still around.
Oh, he's still around. Say he's involved in the documentary, but he works on, I think it's in Ohio of all places. He works on this small racing track where he instructs people on how to drive at speed around this track. Right. And it's fascinating to watch. It's fascinating to see how he handles people knowing the story of what he was and what he is now. It is a genuinely interesting documentary. If you like your Formula One, you're missing out on a piece of history not watching this. But also, if you thought Senna was interesting, I would definitely take this on board to get another bit to that story. But
I do love Senna. The film, thought it was fantastic.
I would genuinely recommend them giving this a watch.
Companion piece then.
Yeah, it's just this 85-90-minute companion piece, and it is interesting.
Yeah.
I would give it a watch.
We need to give Senna another go. Actually, never watched.
I haven't watched it since it came out. I watched it in the run up to the Oscars that year.
Yeah, for which it wasn't nominated.
Well, I remember thinking it's so clearly going to get nominated. That was it.
I seem to remember it was nominated for a BAFTA.
Oh, that's usually the way, isn't it?
That's usually it. Absolutely.
In the same way that, Daniel Blake will clean up the BAFTAs and will get completely ignored at the Oscars.
We'll get completely shut out.
Yes. Yeah, did you say we had another awards that just been announced?
We did. We literally just had the SAG nominations. So the SAG is Screen Actors Guild.
Yeah.
Yep. Again, it's a lot of same old faces that we just had from the Golden Globes.
Well, there's going to be a lot of overlap in these awards.
There is, yeah, and then it's only when the Oscars comes out and there's one black actor.
It's not like you're going to get to the Independent Spirit Awards and be like, and the winner is London Has Fallen.
It needs its own awards and not the Razzies before you can say that.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so I'll have some of the biggies. So,
okay,
outstanding performance by a male actor in a leading role, Casey Affleck for Manchester by the Sea. So he's up there. It's him and Denzel.
I think those are the two, for certain this year. Yeah. I mean, I'm waiting for Joel Edgerton to start getting mentioned. Those are your two locks.
Joel Edgerton, he's getting a few noms, but I think he's going to run out of steam before the Oscars, and I think it's going to be a screenplay, and it's going to be for Ruth Negga.
Fair enough.
It's good for first ones. So we've got Casey Affleck, Denzel, Ryan Gosling for La La Land.
Yeah, I've heard his name banded around as well.
Yeah, I don't think Ryan Gosling's going to win, but I think he's like the next best thing to unlock. I think Andrew Garfield.
Yes,
so this is for Hacksaw Ridge, not for Silence.
Oh, I say they've been quite quiet on Andrew Garfield because he's got both of those films out. He's got Silence, he's got Hacksaw Ridge,
and weirdly, Hacksaw Ridge is the one that is paying off for him, not Silence.
Yeah, which is very strange.
Which is mad.
Both are getting good reviews though. I've seen neither yet.
Yeah.
So
Hacksaw Ridge barely made a dent at the box office. That's the thing. That's the thing that people think are sinking it, and also, of course, Mel Gibson's reputation.
Well, I mean, he's still a great director. I mean,
no, he is. You cannot take that away from him. And I think that's what is being rewarded here. But Andrew Garfield, and then rounding it out, Viggo Mortensen.
Ooh, for Captain Fantastic.
Which I still haven't seen. I've been meaning to see it for a long time.
Almost completely ignored this year, actually.
In terms of reviews and box office, but it got nominated at the Golden Globes as well.
Did it? Okay.
Yeah, for best actor. So that's a bit of a dark horse, that one right there.
Yeah, interesting to see where that goes, actually.
So moving on to the outstanding performance by a female actor in a leading role, Amy Adams for Arrival.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, it was either going to be that or Nocturnal Animals.
She was hedging the bets, wasn't she?
She really was. It was one of those two, wasn't it? Yeah. Although I'm surprised Jay Gyllenhaal's getting nothing for Nocturnal Animals.
Yeah, it's a shame. Yeah. And we shall get to that, actually. Natalie Portman for Jackie. Vassal Locke, as is Emma Stone.
Yeah.
Emily Blunt. I think she's a dark horse.
Which one's Emily Blunt's for? It can't be Scario.
No, that was for last year. Dude.
Oh, of course.
Girl on the Train.
Oh,
I know.
Okay.
Yeah, seems like I feel like there's much better ones. Actually, it's quite telling, but Ruth Negga is not here.
She's not, is she?
She's not. But do you know who is? Mel Streep.
Oh, of course she is.
Show, which I feel is a bit. It's just like Mel Streep's got a film out.
All right, Meryl.
Yeah,
come on, take your award.
Outstanding performance by male actor in a supporting role. Mashallah Ali.
Big fan of Mashallah Ali.
I would love him to get that.
I really would.
Jeff Bridges for Hell or High Water.
Well, that was a good performance.
It was a great performance. Lucas Hedges, who is a young man in Manchester by the Sea.
No, I've not seen that. I've not seen Manchester by the Sea, so I'm not sure.
Not out yet. But he plays Casey Affleck's nephew, who.
That's the plot, isn't he? He goes back to look after the nephew.
Yeah. After the passing of his brother. Yeah.
Okay.
Dev Patel for Lion.
No, I'm not seen, can't judge, but I am looking forward to that performance.
Who'd have thought it? Like, back in the days when he was just in Skins.
I've never finished an episode of Skins.
First 2 seasons are actually pretty good. Get him watch.
I don't know.
Rounding it out, Hugh Grant. Who would have thought Hugh Grant been on it for anything?
Hugh Grant for Florence Foster Jenkins, presumably.
I do think he's quite good at that.
I will give it to him. I do think he's fantastic in Florence Foster Jenkins.
He's really good.
He is really good in that.
Yeah, he's been good in the last few films I've seen him in. He was good in that. He was good in The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Yeah, I do think Hugh Grant's better than we give him credit for.
Absolutely, yeah. Outstanding performance by a female actor in a supporting role, Viola Davis. She's got it all but tied up at this point. Naomi Harris from Moonlight. Yeah.
I've not heard her mentioned for anything else yet.
I have.
Okay. Good.
I have, yeah. Just, there's been a lot of talk about Moonlight. Nicole Kidman for Lion.
Fair.
Octavia Spencer, Hidden Figures.
I see. Yeah. That's been quite quiet so far, Hidden Figures.
There's been a bit of a question mark about that one. It's getting it for song. It's getting nomination for song.
Who's doing the song on Hidden Figures? Is it John Legend?
John Legend, I believe, is involved, but it's Pharrell.
Oh, okay, right.
There was a bit of a question mark about if it was going to be Octavia Spencer, Janelle Monáe, or Taraji P. Henson.
I like Taraji.
I like him. I like Janelle Monáe more than anything.
Really?
Yeah.
I like Taraji. I think it's because I know she was in Person of Interest for years, and she was always terrific in that show.
Well, I know Janelle Monáe more as a musician.
Oh yeah,
yeah. She was a singer more.
I didn't know she was acting now. So
yeah, but she came on the scene and she was essentially like the female James Brown.
Yeah, fair enough.
She's amazing. And we've also got Michelle Williams rounding out
Manchester by the Sea.
Yeah, so that's
it's a good lineup.
That is a good lineup.
It's a good lineup.
There's some good films. So, a couple more pieces of news for you, sir. Sebastian Stan. Have you heard about this news for him and Margot Robbie?
Yeah. This is the Tonya Harding biopic.
It is
Has
indeed.
This got a title, do you know?
It is. It has indeed. The title is I, Tonya.
That was it. Yeah, I, Tonya.
So he's going to be playing her husband.
That's what I was going to ask. Because there's a husband. I think the husband had a friend as well involved.
Yeah, that's not been cast yet.
That's not been cast.
Yeah. Well, it was a friend. It was actually two bodyguards who were implicit. So basically, if you don't know what the story is, Tonya Harding, two bodyguards, and the husband, played by Stan, they were implicit in an attack of a fellow ice skater. I've forgotten her name.
Oh,
but they basically arranged an attack
as well. Yeah, Tonya Harding, and they try and break her leg.
Yeah,
was that it? They tried to break her leg so that Tonya Harding could win the medal.
That's it. Yeah, and then it all got found out, and it was a whole thing.
It's just a mental story. It's one of those stories you're like, only in America.
Yeah, it's one of those stories. It's like, I can't wait to see the film of this.
Yeah, I can't wait.
This is going to be great.
I remember when the news broke that Margot Robbie was going to play Tonya Harding, and my response was, I can totally see her doing that.
Oh, absolutely.
Because
in the same way when she was cast for Suicide Squad.
I mean, also, she's got the crazy eyes.
She got them crazy eyes.
She got them crazy eyes.
Yeah,
like that is a terrifying.
Like,
terrifying.
She's stunning. She's beautiful. She's fantastic.
Yeah,
and then she's got a certain edge to her.
A certain very terrifying edge.
Have you heard how much Rogue One is eyeing for its opening weekend in the US?
Yeah, I heard this. This was mental.
So it's eyeing 150 million opening of the US box office,
wow,
which isn't quite Force Awakens, because Force Awakens was something like 225, I think. It was mad. It was the biggest opening.
It was. Didn't Avengers earn 200? The first Avengers,
something like that.
Like that.
But for Rogue One, it's amazing because it's not got any real like established stars.
That's it. It's not a star-driven film. It's not, and it's an untested concept as well.
Yeah, it's the first Star Wars spin-off. It's like it was always a bit of an unknown.
Let's be really honest though about Rogue One. There is a cynical motivation behind its inception, which is. Can we just flog anything on the Star Wars brand?
Is it going to be just a cash-in?
Yeah. Can we really just use the Star Wars brand without having to use the established Star Wars norm?
Yeah, we can't always pay Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill, and they're not going to be around forever.
Well, basically, yeah. Can we just stick any old Star Wars thing in a cinema, whether or not it's good, and people will go and see it? Now, in the case of Rogue One, they got very lucky because it's amazing, but it could have been so much worse. I mean, I do have just enthusiasm for everything that's to come. Spin-off wise with it, but.
Yeah. I mean, our next spin-off is the Han Solo.
I can't wait.
Which is just, and I don't know what we're getting after that. It's not been confirmed. It's been rumored that it might be either the Obi-Wan standalone that Ewan McGregor keeps going on about, or it could be the Boba Fett film, could be the Yoda film.
I'd like to see one in the future.
I'd like to see one in the future.
I'd like to see one set ahead in time.
Yeah, I like learning about the characters that we don't know.
I would like something set. I don't know. Just the Adventures of Poe Dameron would be a nice spin-off.
Yeah, if we're learning about
My Name is Poe.
My Name is Poe.
A Star Wars story.
If we're learning about the origins of Han Solo, we need to know about the future exploits of Poe Dameron.
Exactly.
Oh, Poe Dam, son.
That works. That totally does.
Yeah. Well, what else we got? Got a few more bits. Okay, the sequel to Justice League. We've not even had Justice League 1 yet.
No, but Justice League was at one point going to be a 2-part film.
It was at one.
Wasn't going to be. It was going to be a 2-part film. They're going to release a year apart or something.
Yeah, and then everyone realised that Ben Affleck was the best thing about Dawn of Justice.
Yeah.
So we're now going to be getting, after the Justice League film, we're going to be getting the Batman first. So that is moving into the slot where Justice League 2 was, which was in 2019. So Justice League 2 will be coming out in the future.
Is it socially acceptable?
Got a date yet.
Is it socially acceptable yet to be bored of Batman?
Are you bored of Batman?
Kind of am.
I'll always go see a new Batman film.
I kind of am, but I'd really rather see another hero around. Like,
which hero do you want to see?
I would
see the Question or something.
The Question, that would work. I don't know. I mean, there's ones I always loved the Green Lantern. I always loved the Jon Stewart Green Lantern.
Yeah.
And
did you hear the rumours that Armie Hammer was going to be?
No, don't care.
I'd be fine with that.
I wouldn't.
He looks like Hal Jordan. He looks how Hal Jordan.
No, he looks like a boring man because
he looks like Hal Jordan,
like
or he looks like a Disney prince come to life. So Armie Hammer looks.
I find Armie Hammer so dull and unengrossing that the fact that his name is Hammer almost seems fitting. But
yeah, but his first name is Armie. I don't think you're fully looking into how great a name Armie Hammer is.
Did I ever
It's
tell
the
you?
manliest name I've ever heard in my life.
Did I ever tell you about years ago when Lone Ranger was in cinemas and I was in Cineworld and there were just I think it was 2 or 3 Gormans people stood in front of the poster for Lone Ranger.
Right.
Trying to, verbally trying to work out how to pronounce his name.
Armie Hammer?
No, they said, Armie Hammer? And I'm walking by, just chuckling to myself. I went, no, just don't correct them, just carry on.
He was in The Social Network. He was too Winklevi. He was a Winklevoss.
I'm just going to put it out there. If you can't pronounce Armie Hammer, you're probably not in the audience that's going to see The Social Network. Let's be really honest there.
Yeah.
But no, I don't want him as Green Lantern. I want Jensen Ackles as the Green Lantern. Just have some fun for a change.
Never going to happen. Jensen Ackles is a TV star, and you seem to be obsessed about who is a film star and who is a TV star, and he is a TV star.
They should have saved money on all of this DC nonsense, and they should have cast it with TV actors. They should have gotten Gabriel Mark to be Batman. They should have gotten Jensen Ackles to be the Green Lantern. Gabriel Mark would have been an amazing Batman. And also, they still could have done the he's in his 40s shtick that they're sticking Ben Affleck with.
Do you know who would have been a good version of Deathstroke?
Go on.
Manu Bennett.
Yes, Manu Bennett would have been an amazing version of Deathstroke. So
we've got that. So why don't we just have him for the film instead?
Why don't we just use the TV versions? Because they are awesome and they are infinitely better. I mean, God, did you see the crossover
I am looking forward
thing?
to Joe Manganiello, though. I do think he'll be good. I think he'll be good, but I think we'll base it on Manu Bennett.
They're so clearly going to base it on Manu Bennett. So why bother? This is the thing. When they did that, when they were casting The Flash, and
that was the most egregious part of it, I think.
That was the weird one, right? When they were casting The Flash, all of a sudden it's, Billy Crudup is going to be Henry Allen. And you're like, okay, this is going to be a thing. And like, and he's accused of murder. And you're like, so basically you're just taking that from the series. Okay. And then it was, and we've cast Iris, and it's going, and it's an African-American actress. You're like, but hang on a minute. The character in the comics isn't African-American. The one on the TV show is. So again, you're getting your ideas from the TV show, which basically begs the question, why are we not just having the TV show on the screen? Because that I would rather see. I get that you can't necessarily expect a film audience to swallow all those years of continuity, but
there is a rumor
need to be connected.
They will be partially connected because it'll just be a different multiverses.
I know,
different Barrys.
But it's such a cop-out.
So we'll have a Barry that looks nothing like Barry.
Isn't it? It's a cop-out answer. It's in the same way.
Maybe we just love the TV show too much.
In the same way that Kevin Feige turning around and saying, Doctor Strange opens up other universes, so, if we ever want to cross over with X-Men, we can just use it. It's a whole different universe. No. You had your chance. You couldn't make it work. Stop trying to find an excuse.
Leave him alone. He's got Spider-Man. he's used all the clout he can.
Exactly. You got Spider-Man back. Let it go.
Yeah.
Let it go.
Spider-Man trailer.
I know, it's so good, isn't it?
So good.
I'm not hugging. I'm not hugging. I'm just opening the door for you. I love that.
Did you love that bit?
I did love that bit. Also, I need to buy some new sunglasses, it seems.
Okay, let's have one final piece of film news, because I think this could be open for debate a little bit.
Okay, go on.
So, iTunes.
Yeah.
You know them, I know.
I'm familiar with the existence of these tunes, yes.
Yeah, these here tunes. They're wanting to introduce a premium rental service.
I heard about this.
So I think this is just an idea at this point.
I think it's an amazing idea.
Would you go for it?
I would go for this.
So the idea is they'll be selling the films for, was it between $25 and $50?
Yeah.
Looking at to begin with, and it was going to be theatrical films that had just come out about 2 to 3 weeks.
I think there's like a
after the
2-week barrier.
release.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll be out of the Cineplex first, and then 2 to 3 weeks.
But that's
2
the
to 3
thing.
weeks later, you can watch it on your phone.
Now, the argument's been made many times, and it usually comes from parents of young children, which is, once we've gotten a babysitter and, and paid for that and paid for parking and stuff, we don't get to go out that often. Once we do all that, we might as well have paid, the $50 because it costs something like twice that. You're like, okay, yeah, I get that. But also, I think you're looking at it the wrong way, which is to say, when we all hang out on a Saturday night, for instance, like sometimes we'd like to see it. We'd love to be in a cinema seeing, whatever the latest comedy is or whatever. But you don't want the aggravation of having to deal with, 150 members of the public, half of whom don't have any concept of how to behave in a cinema. I mean,
we wouldn't want to go through all that hassle to watch Office Christmas Party.
No, you wouldn't. But having said that, if you've got a group of people together in your living room and it's $25 to see Office Christmas Party,
chip in a couple of quid.
On what we now have as massive television screens. I mean, the Odeon in Sheffield has smaller screens than most of us have televisions, but I
will agree.
Case in point. But
just sit close to it. You get
exactly. You could all chip in. You could all chip in, and I think it's a brilliant idea.
Yeah, I can definitely see the pros.
Obviously, you're not going to do it for the latest Marvel film or Star Wars or anything like that. But think Jackie, for example. Think Jackie comes out.
I would watch Jackie in a cinema.
You and I would, but to the average person, it's a biopic drama. It's a biopic drama. You think, okay, that doesn't really seem like something I want to go to the cinema and see. Yeah. I'll go and see, whatever Pacific Rim 2 or whatever big smash 'em up film there is.
But I guess one of the arguments is, does it take away what makes cinema good, which is the shared experience? But then if you're sharing it with people that you actually like,
exactly,
in the comfort of your own home,
it's you can't. I don't think you can put a price on that one. But it turns out you can. It's $25
It's
to $50.
to $50.
Yeah, you can put a price on that.
Yeah, but it was, I forget what the chain was, but it was a cinema chain that wanted to do something similar.
No, it was, wasn't that Sean Parker's
no, it was the
thing?
Sean Parker thing,
Sean
yeah.
Parker's thing, was it Front Row?
Yeah, it was
Front Row,
Front Row, yeah.
It died a death now because all the cinema chains took him to task over it and the distributors weren't interested.
Yeah, this was a few months ago, yeah.
What's working out on Apple's side is that they've managed to make Apple Music work out, and that seems to be kind of working in their favour. But you understand, outside of this idea, they are just one player in a oversaturated market because you've got Amazon Prime, you've got Netflix, and they're the big daddies. Yeah. And there needs to be something to make that
and
company
then
stand.
Hulu underneath it.
Exactly, Hulu underneath it all. And that's only because we don't get it in this country.
Yeah.
But,
or Hulu.
I would really love to have Hulu.
I like
in this
Hulu,
country.
actually.
I would love to have Hulu here.
See, but Horace and Peter's now on Hulu.
Is it?
Yeah. It just dropped on without any fanfare. It was just like,
how much did he have to sell those rights for?
I don't know.
God, I feel for that guy.
I don't.
No?
Like, he can make that money back with the drop of a hat. It wasn't even so much of a risk.
The Louis
like,
C.K. hat dropping show.
Please put money there.
I shot the Jeb Bush of stand-up comedy. Please give money.
He is definitely not the Jeb Bush. Who would you say is the Jeb? I would say Michael McIntyre is the Jeb Bush of comedy. In fact, no, I would say the Jeb Bush is the Jeb Bush of comedy.
No, he's the. Well, yeah, no, I think Michael McIntyre is the Mitch McConnell of comedy. But
he looks like Admiral Akbar. He's got like
Mitch McConnell does look like Admiral Akbar, doesn't he?
Does a little bit, doesn't he? You Google Mitch McConnell, you tell me he doesn't like
Oh God,
Admiral Akbar.
Just thinking of that face. You know what he always reminds me of when I see him, actually?
What's that?
That scene in the first X-Men movie when Bruce Davis is mutating into a waterman.
Yeah, and he's trying to go through the bars.
Yeah. That's who Mitch McConnell reminds me of. Yeah. Every time I see him,
because his eyes are like protruding a little bit.
Yeah.
Who's a bad guy in what's the Schwarzenegger Paul Verhoeven film?
Total Recall?
Yeah. When we're like outside on Mars, and he's got like the eyes protruding.
Yeah, I'll go with that. Yeah,
a little bit like that as well.
So now we've been mean about Mitch McConnell for no reason.
I think we should end.
I think we should end. On which note, here it is.
Your moment of Cage.
You're the last person Horvath saw with the Grimhold. That puts you on his list. So unless you want him to turn you into a pig who just loves physics, then you better help me find that doll before he does.